career pathways, so that was like our short-term goal, was like map out what the career pathways are like. Like, something like that, and then our medium term was like, you know, the next bucket, and then long-term was all of the. And I was like, just, you're breaking it out.
I'm gonna make sure they got that.
Yeah.
Really even it out, the other minute.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna stand up.
I'm happy to take notes. I got the digital version up.
Or,
It's so fine.
or with everybody.
Oh, we can just leave it like that.
Okay.
That actually sort of.
Yeah. Then it goes away. I think that would probably be better on the if he met with you. What's your judgment on that?
And I was about to say, it's kind of sensitive. My next meeting, feedback on what the other
I think so. Can you share the staff questions with Brian? Yeah, you could share the staff questions and then.
Yeah, I know, I'm
I
making
get
trouble. I wanna look at this, I feel like I need to look at this.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be right back. I think that's everybody wanted to be. Like something about it. Is everybody in the room? I think I'm gonna do the balance out. Right. And then you pour it together?
yeah, well, nice, we got right.
Let me put first check.
I mean, like, so if you think about these 5 goals, how are we gonna do this?
No, I
And
think we know.
what's the timeframe on each of them? Is that-
That's my thinking about that. What are the steps you need in order
to do this?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so like,
And then, and the next one, I'll do, what you said before, I hate to.
I guess probably just in the measure to the T's. And that's pretty much, I know you guys sometimes say that question.
Yeah.
It might be.
well, that,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess. On that.
Like, no, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I don't know if you're data would determine where we're promoting, right? I don't know where to promote, I don't know where are they.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, the demographic. Not very much, but
So
maybe we can bring a lot of them.
Quarter cover.
The priority.
For the rest of the group.
Your site, if somebody doesn't know.
I have mine.
You tell the notes to be taken.
Do you wanna use my, you wanna have my
I knew it, I think. I mean, I think that would be, what my worry would be if that's not.
Can I take a copy of this?
Yeah.
Well, I would say identify, like, what data do we have that somebody else has done?
Maybe
We're
conduct
kind of-
an analysis of.
Right, because I mean, if we're looking like economic, we have 45 all laid out, right? As far as poverty, foster, all that. So like the state's already doing a lot of the like youth science analysis and doing
Yep.
data collection, that.
So analyze that we already have.
We identify, okay, what data do we have, analyze that data, and then identify the gaps that are still existing within that data. Is it specific regional school haven't participated in data collection, or have we even asked?
So we'll take those questions.
That's like I said, that's the, what we talked, you talked about earlier, right? It's that duplication of services and the collection of, we don't need to go through, perform the data analysis. Let's identify what's already been done.
So what do we have?
We're gonna do this.
And then maybe we need to get one.
Right, if that's the, hey, there is this massive gap, or it's like, you know, it's X amount old, right? Now, what do we,
Now what do we do?
we're trying to build programming off of cohort of students that already graduated.
Okay.
Maybe it's developing an action plan. Like, get that.
Yeah.
And the idea was.
Okay, so I guess to do that, we need information. Is there anything else anybody has? Maybe anything you're thinking about in the future?
Okay, no, I
I don't know if it like applies, thing I was thinking about, like,
Yeah, I
even
think
like
that
a
maybe
basic
something.
Everybody,
opportunity
those everybody's,
Yeah, these.
or like on,
so what is
yeah,
it?
be like.
diversity, equity, inclusion.
Training.
I don't know.
I don't know if that would apply, but that was just. not For the board, or, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, I love that kind of training, But I'm just trying to think of like, if there are folks who haven't, just so that everyone's kind of having the, you know.
Yeah.
full-
One, you can just use definition. Like, when
Yeah.
we talk about, yeah, what does that actually mean?
Right, like, yeah, definition.
So kind of a one-on-one.
Yeah.
But when you're talking.
Well, and I think, you know, maybe taking into consideration, because I think law will have this, you know.
And then I went like later on.
Brian?
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Brian's meeting with the staff for virtual. Oh, so that's what we just heard. Sound figured out.
The B.
So. Let me go check on.
A lot of it would go, you know, goes statewide, right?
Yeah.
And then measurements would be one, identify the people
Oh.
those programs.
So,
Identify.
right, the informational struggles or the specific definition for, you know, Portland Metro, Eugene, Salem, that's gonna be very different from Frontier Rural. And West Texas. Because it's just in a suburban area.
There we go.
Yep, that's it. Okay. I heard it even though, whoops.
So I think on that screen,
Brian? It sounds like he is moving us to another room.
That's a nice sound.
Mhm. So much quieter.
The voices have stopped in my head.
Oh, just kidding. It says leaving. Ah. Just the three of us.
You
No,
and I
it's
and
not.
Steph.
Yeah. I think this is a better conversation for them anyway. Like, it's okay. They
Yeah,
don't have to be included.
right. Ashley had sent me some question prompts that I think Tiffany had prepared.
Look, he's back.
It's Brian.
Hey everybody,
Hi,
welcome
Brian.
welcome to my nightmare. You guys ready?
How's it going?
So first let me say I didn't realize this thing went till 6 o'clock. So I hope you all aren't planning on staying until 6.
Well, I'm in my
Nope.
house.
Okay,
Yes,
so
say, the agenda says working dinner from 4 to 6, so let's just be
Yeah.
real, like,
yeah,
I didn't get a Grubhub credit, so.
I see no food and I'm at the employment
Yeah, there's
department,
no
so I see no food.
What if
Right,
they delivered
yeah.
it to us and not to you guys? That'd be funny.
Torment us with food, it'd be like, yeah.
Honestly,
Little
I don't
Lois?
want them to give me dinner. I want to go get dinner. I'm on the coast, but that's all
Yeah.
right.
I know, that's true,
That's what I was
but
saying
yeah.
to Ashley. I was like, it would almost be better if you guys could just like reserve a room at a restaurant and like have
We've done
everybody
that in
order
the
what.
past. It's been
Yeah.
super nice when we did that, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
All right, so
Okay.
what are these question prompts? What are we supposed to do? 'Cause I honestly got distracted by some like stuff I had to do for Miranda, so I have no idea what we're actually doing.
All right. So, well, you're not that far behind me, but I will do my best to help you with that.
Can I put these questions in the meeting chat? Does
Yeah.
that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is a doc that Ashley sent me, and it is hideous. Let me see if I can edit that to make that look a little easier to
What's
read.
strengths or expertise?
I can share my screen. I've got it on my screen. That might help.
Oh,
You don't need
sure.
to- y'all
That
know
would
what I
be-
look like. You don't need to see me. Let's see here.
You've got the cough, Brian.
I know.
I don't know.
Eh.
You did legit a kind of like east to west trip.
I did, and Hillary, I'm terribly sorry. Albertson said they had that thing you were hoping I'd find, and I got there and I went in and they didn't. They lied to me. So
No.
I will check. I
It's
will
okay.
check when I'm in
I'll
Boise
be there
next
in
year.
like 10 days.
That's true.
Or 15
Um,
days.
Can you all see that?
Yes. I'm gonna
Okay,
zoom
so
in.
staff.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're looking at input on these questions. The first one is, what strengths, expertise does the board bring?
Hmm.
Your thoughts on that?
I think this is a really good board, actually. I'm pleased to hear about all the expertise that they bring and the range of experience that they bring to the table. Um, one of the things that I would love to be able to utilize them for is as like that leadership think tank. So when we have problems that we don't know how to solve and there are multiple correct answers, right? Like for us to be able to present options to the board and say, staff came up with these answers, like with these potentials. How do you guys weigh in on this? How do these options get us closer to where we're trying to go?
Hmm.
That's one of my
Hmm.
fields.
I agree
Yeah.
with you, Hillary.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Matt.
Brian.
No, go
Oh.
ahead.
Thank you. No, I just kind of piggyback off that. I mean, I agree with you, Hillary. I think just being able to bring these ideas and suggestions to them and kind of to the expertise do they bring, there's kind of a diverse amount of folks on this board as well that come from a lot of different backgrounds or experiences. So being able to bring those ideas or suggestions to a diverse kind of group who are looking to kind of guide this, I just kind of think that there's a lot of value, especially in that. So kind of really what your answer is, but just kind of like highlighting that it's really neat to see that kind of like expanded background of folks on the board who can kind of help guide these.
Yeah, it's like they're seeing stuff with a different lens. We're all looking at the same thing, but they've got different lenses too.
Mhm.
Yeah, how can I help with that?
Just should over to that meeting for the 20 minutes and then come.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute Brian for now. Steph, did you want to add anything to that first question?
I just stuck it in the chat. Just cross-sector insights, regional knowledge, policy and system experiences, partnerships, and lived experiences.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. Ashley just sent you all and me an invite to a different meeting. If we could go over there, because this is just a mess.
Okay.
By me unplugging the owl to come into a separate room for you all, it stopped the recording and it won't record from Ashley's. So we need to leave this room, go to a different room so that it can be recorded there. I don't know. I'm just
It's recording here.
Doing what I'm told. I know. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll join the other room.
You in the other meeting.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's unknown. I give up.
You guys hear okay?
I can hear. Well, I can hear you, Brian. I couldn't hear Tiffany.
Just really a real quick recap. We're going to start with you all and the staff. Brian said he was willing to recap, kind of highlights from your discussion, and then I'll invite any of you who want to chime in afterwards if there's something you feel like you missed, then please do. So we'll start with you all, and then we'll shift.
So as Tiffany said, I think our questions were a little different than the others. First question we had was, what strengths and expertise does the board bring? Some of the things that we felt the board brought was a range of expertise. Very experienced within work. Plus and on. Cross-sectional insight, regional knowledge as well. There's a lot to what our programs are. And a lot of experience building these programs within governmental funding. Different experience coming about knowing what the regulations and number two, how can the board have the largest impact through advising? And again, from our standpoint, providing agility in regard to decision-making, knowledge of systems, able to provide advice from outside. To get that advising from those. Perspective can the board bring that staff and individual programs may not have? And that was real similar to what we felt number two was regional perspectives, historical perspectives. There's a lot of knowledge. And what advice is most needed for the relevant programs you're connected to? Additional opportunities, and that kind of goes along with the partnership. Additional opportunities, better defined pathways to increase opportunities and reduce repetitive. That you all bring. The ability to support ideas and meaningful connections in the real other connections that we're able to.
Like the sound is going in and out.
And on that question too, about what is needed for most relevant programs, we're connected to other comments were how to co-create programs with youth voice at the center, especially in rural and underserved communities. Sustainability and funding, how to leverage blended and braided funding, how to engage the private sector, or advocate for long-term public. What information can we provide to the board about Oregon Youth Works program that could help them advise in the most meaningful way? Program context, decisions were made, how the program decisions came about. employees, challenges, where data came up too, but context of that data, how does that relate to how challenges that may not be apparent in the data show up in the information that we receive area form. Do you believe is most important for these programs to achieve by the end of 2029? So Oregon Youth Corps, we felt that breadth of programming that takes place, not everybody knows that Oregon Youth Corps is by that, exactly what's going on. The idea, the goal that every county and every tribe has a program, goal within that they've worked on and are accomplishing. That is a goal. We also equitable access and outcomes by 2029. Certainly, but really to achieve that, youth that are furthest from opportunity by race, geography, disability, housing status, etc., are consistently engaged in supporting this success. Another one that came up was sustainable infrastructure. Core funding streams are secured and staff are supported to build long-term systems instead of chasing scope. Talk about that in the sense that number of communities that we apply for, the majority of them have that in the questionnaire and application. Drive how to make this sustainable beyond. And that's the community for way to change the thinking to really consider that impact, especially as funding goes, but really to just that short time frame, but look at the program as something that can we make this long term and just think it, but actually come up with solutions to do that. And the last question, what support would you be willing to offer board members? I don't think we thought of anything that we wouldn't, if that's even possible, but site visits, youth spotlights, arrange opportunities to meet youth participants, see projects in action, or tour partner sites across regions, trainings, briefings, offer optional learning sessions on topics like equitable workforce development, youth voice, emerging industries, funding trends, things that we acquire through administering the grants, but maybe isn't always apparent. That context. Guest speakers bring in grantees, youth, or industry reps to meetings to add insight and real world context. Quarterly, yearly data dashboards share visuals of youth served, demographic reach, credential attainment, employment outcomes, etc. Certainly provide talking points and fact sheets, prepare materials for board members that board members can use to advocate or speak about the youth programs to legislators, partners, the public. Surveys, whatever. Feel like.
Especially
connected to funding that they receive.
Absolutely. If it's available, that sheet that listed all the different programs. That points is if you. You don't either. And it's tough because these are youth and questionnaire, it's not exactly something that they're interested in. For the vital, and what can we align programs to be able to use that?
And it would be nice if we were. Same thing. And how to, you need to know to choose.
Great, any other? Sounds like the back room. It sounds like something. Right. This is my thought. I just want to float this idea. So it's possible. Yeah, there's just something not. Yeah, it was working for me. So after working on the sound. Oh, big one. Should be picking up here. Did something get? Sorry. All right. Can you hear any better now? Is that better? Great.
Okay, I can just hear you two. We couldn't hear anyone else in the room.
Yeah, have like Jim test. for
Brooke
us.
or Jim, folks that are furthest away from the mic.
Testing.
Barely. It's very soft, but we can at least hear you now. So.
All right.
Sorry for the food.
At least for this next portion, I think it might be easiest if someone comes up and presents anyways, and then everyone can hear, and then they can hear as well. So,
Do you wanna?
oh, well, you can be seated if you prefer.
No, do you wanna, I wondered, do you wanna do it by goal or do you wanna just do one group then the other group?
Yeah, so this is, well, I'm open, but what I was gonna recommend was one group present for 5 minutes without too much back and forth, but just sharing where you landed, and other group really just listening for the time being. Second group presenting for 5 minutes. And then that gives us like 20 minutes to make some decisions. My concern is if the presentations become really long, then we don't have time for decision making or aligning them. So if folks agree to just present the information here from both, and then look around. That work for folks? Somebody's willing to go first?
Well, I thought Jim was, he's sitting there.
Or Jim, go.
He's trying to. Okay.
Jim, are you ready?
I'm trying to fix the, I can go, sure, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so, hey, that'll help, because I'm sitting right here, right? That's the idea?
But is that on screen share?
Is that you were doing yours digitally, right?
I sent it.
Oh.
I sent it to you, yep, yeah. I don't know where that's from. Did I do this?
Yeah.
I did this?
You didn't put it on the screen.
No, it's not.
Everything's typed out.
All right. Okay, Jim, how about if you go first?
Okay, I'm gonna try to sit over here, owl people, and tell me if you can hear. And then I don't have to turn my back anywhere. Okay.
I can hear you. Thank you.
All right. How much time do I have? 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Okay, here we go. 1 minute per goal. Okay, for the first one, promote talent diversity. Our short term was data. What do we have? Analyzing it, finding the gaps and deciding if we need more. Understanding that workforce sectors are critical sectors, and then training the board for what DEI is and understanding that HEC framework. Number 2, foster collaborative community engagement. We have identifying partners with workforce boards, leveraging the WTIB and using maybe STEM Hub models for identifying those partners. And that's also internal and external. And then for medium goal, we have our education summit. I don't know what it's called.
I want to capture these. So the first one, was it data baseline? Is that accurate?
Yeah. But it's more, it's like it's a baseline, but then it's like analyzing it and finding where the gaps are.
And analyzing. Okay.
Like, do we have all the data we need in order to be able to answer it?
Okay. And then educational forum. So we pulled it?
We'll call it that.
Okay.
And then on the third one, we've got where and how to deploy OES in schools and engage educators. And then for medium goals, we need to monitor that. We need to follow up on it. We need feedback from business and industry, and we need to determine what's next after the OES from employers.
So it's monitoring and feedback. Is that the focus?
On the medium goal, the short term is where and how we deploy OES in schools
And
and engaging the educators. On the investing, we want to highlight short-term certifications. So first aid, CPR, food service, driver's licenses, CDLs, OSHA 10s, and then probably a medium goal is for students to invest in their individual growth. They need to know who they are. So using data like use science. So we have targets that we are hitting, and here, bringing back driver's ed, because that leads to driver's licenses, which leads to transportation, which leads to jobs. Good. Last one. We have aligning within the industry. Let's see. We had aligning within the industry. Who does what? Centralizing information. Knowing where funding is, what pots of money are where, what pots of money cover which population, and also aligning fiscal years and calendar years with funding. And the medium again, our summit or forum, what do we call it? Education forum. That's all the pieces we had.
awesome. Thank you.
I think we'll find some alignment. Hillary, Steph, or Matt, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So our first three, we did all short-term goals. I think mostly because the idea of by the end of December, if we want to have meaningful impact, we should get some stuff out the door quickly. Focused on the operational goals, we focused on number 2 and 5, principally on 5, understanding that it connects with 2. So strategically align and foster collaboration. May I beg you to scroll down a little bit, Ashley? Thank you. So our first is data collection of that which exists. So data collecting existing youth workforce programs from all state funded initiatives. We set some measurements and some additional notes for each. So we try to create 4 to 5 measurements for each. Identify the programs, identify the data points we desire. A lot of that work's been done with the December meeting, funding resources, and the demographics of participants and regions. Our second is, once that data is collected, to move into analysis and interpretation, to distribute amongst the participating agencies and programs, focusing on gaps analysis, looking for those best and replicable models, creating recommendations, our creation of recommendations and encouraging others to make recommendations, and then standardizing systems and procedures as a subsequent goal and a way to measure. And then scrolling down, please. Thank you. Third, gathering, having a summit, and whether it be a kickoff or maybe a post-analysis summit, attached, not attaché, so forgive me on that one. Or the idea of attaching a track to an existing summit that may already exist somewhere in the state that is this focused on youth programs. So some great thinking on like all the different ways that we could possibly have a gathering. Who's invited to the table, make sure that the invitation is at the front end, not looking for who we missed at the back end of the work. I heard this and we labeled it as fifth item down, grant availability hub, that if we're locating all of the places and spaces where funds are available, that all of the places and spaces in the state should have access to that information. It shouldn't be a secret, and create an open source grant availability hub in this specific area of work, which is honoring transparent and authentic information sharing. Next one, please. Yeah.
Saying that who the state is giving funding to is available to all agencies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And some of the discoveries I've had with the 11 agencies and groups, Hillary invited me to a meeting and all of a sudden I found this amazing sea of people that are putting funding out for wildfire. And in watching and listening, people go, well, I just funded so-and-so and well, I just funded so-and-so also.
Yeah.
Right. And some like sticky wickets that were discovered. It was kind of fun. And then promotion of existing as you guys mentioned, I think we should have a conversation about OES. Sounds like we're getting there, right? And other programs that are high quality and replicable, and honor the people that are doing the work in the classroom. So rather than hire a marketing approach, honor those educators, those administrators, those practitioners, get them in front of other people. That's was thinking about it, something we said earlier, but it's not, my grandpa used to always say, it's not about a well-told story, it's about a story well told. And the practitioner being in the room to tell that story is going to make that happen, to move things forward. The youth track at a Working Together conference, and then setting a goal at the bottom of this one, like promoting and adopting, and then setting a goal of access and usability of this program around the state in different regions would be a big hallmark. And then our final one was industry engagement. We had some good conversation on this. This is a tough one. We have a differentiation between our businesses and our kids. But as we're working, as we have heard business and industry say, this is what we're looking for from kids, to also listen to the kids' voice and come back to the business and what it means to work with a new and varied generation, their demographics, and what the changing youth profile is as it's coming into their places and spaces. So that would elevate a lot of conversation and need good support and guidance, but could potentially be a win-win for both sides as we try to kind of have a continuous improvement process with business and industry on getting youth in their workplace. All right, also a question.
had a comment about your summit and you mentioned maybe adding it back to a existing summit, the WTDB's talent summits every other year and didn't have it this year, so a year from now or so. And Steph and I added a little youth component to it last time and it went over really well. We brought a panel from VR and some other places to talk about that. So I mean, it might be a possibility.
All I'll say on a personal level is the last talent summit changed my life. I met my.
You gave a good review then? With that, you gave a good review. I got those.
All right, so here's what I'd like to do. I'm gonna read these out and I'm gonna try to group them. And what I want to walk away with today is all the places where there's really clear alignment. There might be some places that are still maybes or unclear, we don't know, so we might need to table a couple things, but I think we can get to everything where there's real clear alignment. So I'm gonna start and then you all can direct me. So I'm gonna try to group things in the places that they're grouped and direct me. But I heard industry engagement and playing an advising role around that. I heard promotion of existing high quality programs such as OES. So this is promotion, this is advising, a grant availability hub. Would that be advising or?
Oh, no, like actually creating a resource that folks can go.
The board would actually create it?
So resource.
Because I want to get to what the board goals are. So what role would the board
I
create?
think would advise HEC-CWD or ask.
Provide like a formal recommendation for creating this?
To create that hub and then they will go to the information, yeah.
Okay.
It would be some FTE position like description work.
Okay.
So unlike, we have Brittany that puts together and manages the ETPL, eligible training provider list. Maybe it's a youth resource list if somebody is internally.
So that would be a formal recommendation. We've got a youth summit, so either creating a new one or aligning with an existing one. Analysis and, oh my gosh, this is gonna drive me crazy. Aren't Post-it notes supposed to stick? Analysis and interpretation of data to make recommendations. So I definitely heard more alignment around that. I also have data collection of existing youth workforce programs across the state. So I would group those together. Thank you. Educational forum. So there's a grouping here around the youth summit or educational forum. And we won't wordsmith today. We'll just look at the concepts where there's alignment, data baseline, and analysis of gaps. We have that a couple times here. We have monitor and feedback. Can you remind me the focus of the monitoring and the feedback?
That was with the third goal on the OES, monitor and feedback on
The deployment.
the deployment of the OES.
So it would go kind of medium-term goal with the one under your double, right? The promotion of existing.
Yeah, yep, that's what it is.
This one here.
Yeah, it's kind of subset of that one, medium term.
Right. Okay. Then we have where and how to implement OES and connect. So knowing the where and how OES is implemented and then connecting to educators. Is that its own grouping or does that connect to one of these?
That probably connects to the one you just got up there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, short-term certification. Is that providing a recommendation or advising?
Is that go with industry where they have to have all the certifications to get?
Because part of the
Here.
conversation on that one is,
Industry engagement?
yeah, I would say that's when we were discussing that one, it was, how do we give
Yeah.
certifications and different things, some teeth? Oh, no, sorry, that was the badging. That
Them
was
on the back. Yeah, that's
sorry,
an
that one's in the
individual
investment, sorry.
Yeah.
wrong one. So that was getting like access to driver's licenses and so not,
OSHA 10.
yeah.
Things
Yeah.
you, based
Sorry.
on the.
I was
Okay.
different priority, so not,
Yeah, so would that be within this bigger bucket of an advising role to industry engagement?
Mhm.
not,
It's different.
yeah.
How is it different? Just so I understand.
This isn't on the industry side.
It's a data thing, don't you think?
It was a lot.
It would be like if you're on the on-ramp campaign national resource career path, because you have to get your ICS 100.
Okay.
Okay.
First aid CPR, you have to
Yeah.
do cultural monitoring, your basic 32, your
Okay.
S212.
Certification
that-
would be correct.
All the certifications that you need to walk into an industry.
Okay, yeah, I like that explanation.
I was thinking we were.
Yeah, definitely, because if industry hasn't bought into it and industry doesn't see a value in it, why are we doing it?
Okay, great. And then I put create data targets here, and that goes in our data grouping. And then bring back driver's ed. Is this also, is this an advising role around industry
This is a
or
mandate.
Yeah, that's.
is that a
yeah,
state?
That's a tell the state to get- quit tripping on its own feet.
Who decides, what agency decides this at the state? Is,
Local level.
Well, it could be Department of
Well, we
Education.
want
It
to
used to
put-
be
we
Department of
want to-
So
Education.
that's,
We
they took it
wanna-
out of the school districts and
it's
shoved it to other.
okay, this is its own sort of complicated thing, very worthy, but sort of
Yeah, that's-
complicated.
Is very, very, very important.
Yes.
Is it? So where?
Oh my God, yeah.
So then, so I guess, if we focus on your influence as a board, then, is it a recommendation? Is it advising?
The recommendation.
More recommendation of the governor and governor's office and
A
education.
recommendation to the governor?
Okay.
Because without access to, decent access to driver's ed, right, that limits transportation, that limits opportunity, that limits employment, all of
The
these
family
things.
has no car.
Well, yeah,
Right.
It's $1,000 now.
Yeah, it's
When I was
ridiculous.
talking to
If you
DC Works, it was $1,000 in
well,
there.
and what's
you
weird,
have access.
yeah, if you have access, that's what I was
We
explaining.
don't have it
Ours,
in our whole
we have a
county.
waiting list. We have 2 instructors that have to do training coming all the way from Eastern Oregon to Portland to do training on their free time.
All right, so I'm gonna keep
So-
us moving.
Okay.
Knowing
Yes, of
who
course.
does what, there's a lot of energy around this one. Good, it's an important one. So knowing who does what and money streams. Would that be connected to data potentially, or is that its own
Feels like
category?
data gathering.
It is data.
It is that data gathering, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm seeing. Tell me if you all agree. I'm seeing a data category. I'm going high level. I'm seeing this as its own recommendation. Then there's advising to industry. So there's a grouping here, here, here. There's the summit. And then there is this is a recommendation for the grant availability hub. Is that also a governor recommendation? Or is that
Is
I
that
think it's-
data?
You know, Steph and Hillary made some really good points in the chat. I
Oh,
just want to include them.
Okay.
I think if you're willing to speak out anything, feel free to interrupt. Because I have to keep us going and get this done. But no, feel free to interrupt with what they have if you want to,
Go ahead and say it.
what,
It's hard to do.
yeah.
Steph mentioned regarding OES, the WTDE has a work readiness committee, and it makes sense to have this group connect and collab with that group on awareness, et cetera. And then Hillary said that all of our folks need this. Each program asks if this is allowed for these for grant funds.
For the
Needs.
driver's licenses.
Okay.
Transportation.
So I'm gonna keep us going. So grant availability hub, where would that recommendation go? Is that the governor?
I believe it would be our board recommending the CCWD to stand it up and to announce to other agencies that it is available and it becomes the resource hub. But since it's youth work focused, it
Uh-huh,
would make sense to come from this center of work.
okay,
And it may be a pot that would potentially
Okay.
create a funding source.
okay. So then this is, around promotion existing, and this is all OES related. So this is an OES bucket that is connected to where and how it's implemented, the promotion,
Partnership.
and it's around partnerships
Well,
and monitoring and feedback.
Yeah, and the partnership that you would have with OES in collaboration.
Okay. So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buckets. Does that sound about right? Is that okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Are folks familiar with a FITS to 5 model? Do you know what I'm talking about? So this is a tool that we'll use to decide where the most alignment is and where the most agreement is. You have limited time and energy. I just want to say there's a lot of problems to be solved. You all have limited time, and I hope that whatever you're agreeing to, you're gonna really put your weight behind as a board. So I'm guessing we'll probably need 2 or 3 short-term goals, for example. Probably don't want 5 or 6. So 0 means I'm just really not on board with this category. I'm not sure that I really want this to be a board focus. Because you're thinking about everybody collaboratively, collectively agreeing to working on something. 3 means I'm not excited about it, but if everybody else is really excited about it, I'm willing to go along with it. 5 means I champion this idea. Like, this idea really needs to be on here. This is just a way for me to see where the energy is around these goals. So I'm going to go through each of the 6. And then you're going to do the 0 to 5. And this is your vote for whether you want this to become one of your goals, your board goals. So clear? Does anyone have questions? Yeah.
Are we only allowed 1 vote for each point, or is it?
Each category. 1 vote for each category.
I can have 5 5s if I so choose.
Yeah, but then you'd have to be willing to do the work for 5 of them.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd have to really be willing to do the work.
Excellent.
And I think if you're the only 5 and everyone else is a 0.
I don't remember you being on the doer side. You're close.
I'm trying to be more of a fan.
Okay. Let's start with advising.
I feel like this is doable though. Do we have 6?
Let's see. I mean, maybe if everybody feels that way, there's no reason we can't. Industry engagement, advising role. So doing something around advising industry and engagement. Not super on board with that. Not excited about it, but I do it. You can do a 2 as well. That means you have some reservations. You can do a 4, and you can do a 5 means you're all in. So go ahead and show me where you're at with this goal. Okay, wait, so between a 4 and a 5, a 4 and a 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 5, or 2. Okay. So we have a 2.
You want to just do the math?
No. And then we had a 2 and a 3, and everybody else was a 4 or 5, right? Oh, we had 2 3s. All right. Let's see here. Grant availability hub. So writing up a formal recommendation for a grant availability hub. So 0 to 5. And if you're putting a 5, this means you're willing to put in the work on this as well.
That's the only one in that category.
Yeah, we have to have availability of the information.
Well, you're just putting a recommendation. This is just writing the recommendation that this be done. So a 5, a 5, a 5, a 1, a 4, a 5, a 3, and a 3. So we have a 1, a 3, a 3, and then 5, right? The person sorry. Hey, what's your 1? Were you at 1? Somebody was a 1.
I was a 1.
Are you willing to share why?
Just given all of those, I think I had just had other priorities. I don't think we can accomplish all of those in the short term, and so I was pick and choosing my priorities.
Okay, so it's less that you don't like it and more that you don't feel like it's a priority.
I also think if we did the data stuff, it would naturally come out of it, and so I don't think it needs to be a separate one. It's sort of my feeling. If we collect the data on what's available, like the natural thing will be that here's the things available.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That argument makes sense. So this is everything related to OES. So partnerships, collaboration, promoting, monitoring. Go ahead and show me where you all are at around OES related.
Can you call them out? I'm calculating for you.
Oh, you are? Oh, great, thank you. 5, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 5, a 3, and a 4.
Can we go back to the very first one?
I'll go back there. Let me see if I can get back there. I have it. I do have it. I'll come back to it. So is there anything that would take you from a 3 to a 4, Rena?
Wait a minute now. Do you get to do that?
Answer that's fine. I just wanted. This is where we've had the most alignment so far. So it's
For me, that is going to be the most time consuming.
okay. So it's about
endeavor.
time.
And I think there are shorter term goals that we can accomplish and then tackle it. That's my.
Okay.
personal-
It's the biggest.
All right.
Yeah, and it's huge.
Educational forum, youth summit. Again, where are you putting your time and energy as a board? I want to see hands for everything related to the youth summit and educational forum. So 5, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 4, and a 5. Okay, we have all 4s and 5s for that. All right. Writing up a recommendation to the governor for bringing back driver's education. Please see hands for this one. So writing up a recommendation to bring back driver's education. 5, a 5, a 5, 5, a 4, a 4, and a 5.
That's.
Okay. I just don't think we're gonna get anywhere with that, so I still vote.
Is that a 0 then?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the solution to the driver's ed problem.
Okay. Hearing dissenting voices is super important.
Sorry to be that way all the time.
Yeah. No, that's great. So let's see here. Data, there's a huge grouping around data. So this is just a vote around, are you on board with creating some goals around data specifically, but connected to data? How on board are you with data focused outcome? So a 5, a 5, 5, 5, 5, a 5, a 3, and a 5. Okay. So 1, 3. Okay. Cool. I didn't miss any, right? I got to them all. So there's 2 clear winners in terms of alignment. So we have a starting point. So we have a data goal for sure and an outcome for the board.
4.75.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And I wanted to make a recommendation here. What if this were medium term instead of short term, or connected to a short term and a medium term goal, so that it's not feeling like everything has to be done at once? But could there be this? There was a lot of alignment here, and I'm wondering if there could be breaking this down into smaller goals. Would everybody want to focus on something related to OES? I'm seeing a nod from everybody. Okay, so we've got agreement on 2. On 2 places we have agreement. And then everywhere else, I think there's at least a little bit of discussion. Oh wait, this one. And the summit. And the youth summit is a really big one. Okay. So we've got 3. So now I want to kind of revise the recommendation. And I'm going to say that if folks want to make a really quick case for adding one of these, I want to invite you to make a case really quickly. But proposal, 3 outcomes: a data related outcome, a OES related outcome, a summit related outcome. If we walk away today with a decision to make those concrete and agree to those today as a board, how on board are you with that? So if I could see 3, 4, 5 to 5 for those 3. so that we walk away with some decisions today on what we are aligned with. So 5, 4, 5, 4, 4, 5. Sorry, what's yours? 5. Oh, and yours. How do you feel?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
How do you feel about making an agreement today around 3 goals, those 3 goals where there's the most alignment? So you good with the data, OES, and a youth summit?
Yeah.
Yeah? So we've got 3 goals that everybody's in alignment with. So I think those are decided then, and the details will be part of the next step. What is the exact wording? How do you want to measure success? But we've got a decision around those 3. In the last, do we have time or not?
I would just say the question was asked, because I think the issue of the summit was raised as like a statewide convening of the adults, and then there was also like a youth track at a conference. So when you say youth summit, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Are we talking about?
I think that has to get decided separately. I think that's a really good question, and I think all you're agreeing to right now is the category.
Okay, great.
And the focus.
Okay.
And it'll have to be a follow-up conversation around what the actual agreement is. So, yeah, does that work?
Okay, yep.
Okay. And then in the last couple of minutes, and I know how short on time we are, is there anybody who wants to really make a case for bringing in one of these others? Like feels really strongly about bringing in one of these others, yeah.
I can do that. I guess for me, for clarification, because right, we identified the issue, and it's not that driver's ed doesn't exist, but after changes to the manner in which it's implemented, it's pretty evident from talking to people that are dealing with it that it's not effective. So I understand it might not fix the issue, was the concern that you had as far as, right, a formal recommendation might not fix the issue, but what level of work or how much work would it take to make a formal recommendation to the governor to investigate, like, hey, there's a problem here, right? Not that, because right, we're making a recommendation saying that, hey, something needs to change here to make it more accessible. Not that we're providing the, hey, here's the 12-step plan to make it better, just from the board to the governor saying, hey, we're all from different areas from the state, we're all working in different regions, and we all have the same issue that driver's ed is broken right now. So we identify this as a priority. We advise you as the governor to say, hey, take a look at this as you're talking equity and access and all of these things, that this is a huge barrier, especially in your impoverished rural frontier communities that have very limited resources. So that, from our perspective, when we were talking, is what we're looking for is, can we let the governor know, like, hey, here's a problem. Can you start looking
So I
at
want
this?
to make sure you feel it. So I think what I hear you saying is it might not fix it, but at least we take action and at least it gets it on the radar.
As a board, taking action to let them know, hey, there's a problem, get it on the radar. And where it goes from there is above our hands, right?
Cool.
And I think.
Now, wait, so we're at time. Sorry, I'm so sorry because we can't go into discussion
Okay, so
now.
it's in.
And from your perspective, is there a different pathway that you think would be more effective?
I mean, that's fine if you just want to send, I mean, I think that she's aware, like, it's been an issue with the workforce investment boards that they have been continuing to bring up to her. But if you want to send it on behalf of this board, I can support that. I think I was thinking that when we're making a recommendation, we would have a solution, and I don't
Yeah,
wanna
that's
get
the way,
into
yeah.
that. If it's just to like, hey, we noticed this issue, it's still a challenge, and maybe we could include some data, and then, yeah, I think that that's a pretty easy thing to do.
Okay.
So maybe it was just me misunderstanding what the intent was behind it.
Yeah, okay.
I know the tribes would stand behind that. We had 20 youth in front of the tribal council. The chairman asked how many have driver's license too.
Okay, so you might put energy towards it, but you're not opposed to the board doing it or signing off on it. So everybody in favor of adding this as a board? As a kind of walking away with the agreement as a board.
That should be a fairly easy lift.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, all right, so we've got 4. We did it. There will be follow-up, but we have agreements on 4 outcomes for the board. We'll work with what exactly the languaging is. We'll work with measuring that. That'll have to come as next steps. But hopefully you feel pretty good about making decisions as a group collaboratively about 4 places where you can really focus for the next short-term, long-term, medium long-term, medium, both.
Well, we are gonna need the support from the staff, data
Yeah.
mining, I mean, so the staff, I mean, are you all on board?
Let's see your five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have to know the details of the ask before they can say that, so we'll have to get into that, yeah.
It
Oh,
would be worth
thumbs
it.
up from Hillary.
Closing, I want to close out, just, let's just end with one takeaway. Anything that feels relevant that you want to share, we'll just go popcorn style. If you really don't want to share, you don't have to, but just one takeaway. And again, we'll just go popcorn style. Yeah.
Need to have more meetings.
I thought it was cool to see the, I don't know, unity is the right word, right? But everybody's from all around the state and it's the same problems, same identification, right? We went first and you guys are not laughing because it's the exact same stuff, just a little bit differently.
As different as we all are,
Uh-huh.
it's all the same.
Yeah.
The more in common than
Yep.
different.
Yeah.
Anyone else? There's our timer.
Should I stop the recording?
Everyone else good? Any final words from one of our anything that you all want to say in closing?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Okay, site visit tomorrow. Does everybody have the details about the site
Yeah,
visit?
Ask if you give us a refresher on what, where, when.
Yeah, I sent an email this morning. We updated the meet time to 8:30. 8:30 and breakfast will be through at about 8:45. And if you guys like, I can send out the address just in the show me email. This is at the top of your inbox. Well, so I'll do that and then maybe figure out a carpool situation too. If there's multiple.
Takes about 20 minutes to get there. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then that's all we have tomorrow.
Yeah, and then,
Okay.
Stephanie says, thank you all for your time, dedication. We appreciate you.
Tiffany, thank you very much for
Yeah,
giving
thank
us.
you.
So if I could just mention too, more meetings. We did start off trying to have a meeting every month, just to get things rolling. Because the group decided that quarterly was just not enough it's for folks to get their feet wet and to take those next steps. From a staff perspective, monthly is not very doable. That's just a lot to try to get noticed, publicly and just keep up with all the rules and keep it going. But if folks feel like when everybody starts digging into these four, that we do need to meet more often virtually, maybe every other month for a while. I mean, I would say, think about that, if that's what makes sense and we can pull that together. But boy, anything other than every other month, I think is gonna start to kill people.
If we thought about every other month for that time frame, what was it, July to, what was the sweet spot? July to December. Normally we would have one meeting in that time slot? Or would we hit two?
Two.
I mean, maybe we have an additional one just in that time slot to try to make some of that happen.
We need subcommittees. We actually do.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to work. That's what she was talking about.
You know, it would only be an additional meeting within that time frame. I don't know.
We do the buddy system. To our North Star.
Somebody for the goals.
Pat can pick up some of this workload, I think.
Who?
Pat.
Oh, yeah. He's staying for whatever, as long as you feed him. All right, Doug, is there any formal closing that's needed or?
No, just thank you. Thank you all for driving here, some of you further than others, in all kinds of weather. We will probably go to 2 meetings in person a year. That's what our budget's gonna call for probably in the next biennium, so we'll kind of figure that out. That's a nice balance. But yeah, thanks for your time and dedication. You're all giving up a lot of your time to this today and some of you yesterday to travel and tomorrow. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Thank you, Scott. So very much. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, folks. Bye. Take care. Have fun tomorrow.
Stop.